All right, welcome back to the show, beautiful people. We have David Sun, the CEO of Ultralift, back on the Zoom call. I think the last time we spoke was towards the end of 2021 last year, and that was during the bull market. Now we're in a bear market, but you guys are still out there going to conventions, doing demonstrations of the power tool. You guys are still doing the hustle, which is what I like to see. I see a lot of cryptocurrency projects that are there for the bull market and then they just disappear during the bear market. No one ever hears from them again. And it was just like a cash grab, but you guys are still doing the hustle. You guys are still around. You guys are still developing. So could you just give us like maybe a brief update on what you guys have been up to? What's the latest and the greatest from Emerge Token and Ultralift?
Definitely. I know we're not so big on updating in social media and things like that, but we are still around. We're still developing our project right now. The only thing I know what's happening in the crypto space, a lot of companies over leverage, and what we're seeing with certain exchanges and things like that. We don't leverage anything. I mean, we don't have anything to leverage off. I think the only thing we leverage is from the relationship with Ultralift that I also run. Ultralift is still gaining customers every week. We got some of the key clients that we got over since end of 2000, I think since our last conversation, right? Kia, Cintas, trying to think of some of the more, there's a lot of them, but the more key names, right? So Ultralift is still growing its customer base, which Emerge will be leveraging onto once the smart tool is developed. We will be opening the wallet up. Literally, we've been saying it. I know in this industry, programmers delay. I understand that world a little bit. Like there's bugs, there's certain security measures. Now we have Web3 implementation things that to prepare for, Web5, different security protocols. That's one of the biggest things. I try to push our guys as much as possible, but when our programmers are like, hey, this is security is one of the top things. Even today, like not today, but recently, there's still hacks going on. There's still hundreds of millions of dollars being stolen. So security is a very important thing, but we're pretty much there. I think we're gonna start unloading some wallet users for testing next week, like literally next week. And then I think we have close to 3,000 plus Emerge members. So we're gonna be sending out an email once after the test. I think the test probably for 2 weeks. So in the month of July, everyone will have access to the wallet and also Emerge tokens on the Solana chain. On the wallet. So we've been doing that. So obviously the wallet comes in development first. We got to change our roadmap a little bit. So unfortunately there were delays, but the wallet comes first. Without the wallet, there's nowhere for the tool, the smart tool once it's developed to mine the token to store, to appear in the wallet. So our next phase is developing the tool right now. I'm still trying to figure out if maybe end of the year I can go to China to work with the factory. Our mining board is going to be done in the States, but the new tool. So what people see with the Ultralift tool right now, that is not the mining tool. That is the current tool that we sell into the marketplace. So it's a complete, I think we have a 3D model of it, right? It's going to look very similar to that. Maybe I'd say 90%. There's still some rendering changes. So that's my next focus, is to get that tool done. We are going to bring this thing to life. Now, how we do, that's forecast, right? But what we made a commitment before the project started was we're going to deliver a data-driven tool, mining data on the blockchain, our token, and something that's from a mobile device, right? That in the most relevant industry, right? In the trucking. So we still have insurance companies interested, but they're, again, like everyone else, hey, when? The big question, when? Things take time, but we are working and progressing forward. That's what I want everyone to know. I know right now the industry, Asian entrepreneurs are getting a bad rep, especially Do Kwon, that 3AC guy and all that. I am not one of those. We're not messing with people's money. We are in development. We're not trading. We're not. And our wallet, just so everyone knows, I don't think we're going to have any staking programs or anything like, it's not going to, it's strictly to hold tokens. So it wouldn't be like in any kind of scenario that we would run into what we see in the market today, number one. That's really important for people to know. The next thing is we have an NFT in the works right now. I think that's almost done too. I hate to, how a lot of companies update as they go, right?
Yeah.
I don't do that because then the videos will show the timestamp of, hey, when things are supposed to get done and when delays happen, and just hate to be a talker. That's not what I'm about or my team. So rather when it's done, present it, right? Absolutely. So we have about 9 drivers for sure right now that will have a decal with the NFT, also Emerge logo and all that on their trailer. Once it's all done, of course, and then they'll be running around the country. We also have a few different marketing partners we're working with, especially right now. It's bear market, right? No one's interested in NFTs or crypto and all that, but our NFT will have a utility tied to any owner of it with the tool mining will have benefits versus someone without the NFT and doing the mining. Okay. So wallet's the first objective to complete, right? The tool is the next thing. And I think when the tool gets done and we can really show videos, obviously we have users, right? When we show people using it, drivers using it, loading the data onto the blockchain, insurance companies and fleet managers having access to that data, tokens being mined, drivers having some form of exchange and more utility value with the token. We have a few things, but again, I don't want to talk about it. It'll get released, maybe even design concepts of certain things. I might have given away in a few other videos, but I don't want to talk about it. End of the year. So we have a lot to accomplish between now and the end of the year. Sorry, I just kept going and all that, but I wanted to give a very thorough update.
I have a question. You mentioned the NFTs having a utility and benefits. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more about the benefits and the utility of the NFT?
Okay, so for example, some of the things that we've been throwing around is if a driver owned an NFT or someone in the community that ends up sponsoring a driver, right, has the NFT, then they can mine at double the speed of the token, or this is just kicking it around. We don't know exactly yet, but as far as all the drivers that are interested in the NFT and having a digital icon image of what they do, we're gonna have a community for them, and also events. We're gonna have different sponsors that we're also talking to, obviously leveraging from the relationship from Ultralift. There's gonna be a lot of product companies that want to have access to this group, so there'll be benefits, discounts, and things like that. So a real community of truckers. So I think we have a few people coming out with a list of like 500 that would be interested, but we have 10 confirmed for having decals on their trailer. So imagine later if we do have, the goal is, right, to get to 1,000+ drivers with decal on their trailer. We're talking nothing crazy. So it would probably be like, some sort of a strip on the end of the trailer or the back of the trailer. But again, when it's done, we'll have photos of the ones currently running so people can get the idea of it. And then that'll be all across America, because a lot of them are running long distance, which will be great for visibility.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that now is the time more than ever that our truckers, our supply chain, like the lifeblood of our economy, needs alternative ways to transact. They need alternative means of creating wealth, especially after what we just saw happen in Canada, where the governments were freezing bank accounts of truckers that were protesting against being oppressed. And all this stuff happening with the inflation, and also too, we see truckers struggling with staying afloat in terms of profit, because the gas prices are so high that now it's cutting into their livelihood. So Yeah, I mean, I think this project has such a good use case, and it can benefit our whole ecosystem so much. Now, again, this goes back to like the supply chain and inventory stuff, and I know that there's another digital currency project out there called VeChain. Could you, how does this project compare to something like VeChain?
Okay, so and again, I'm not a super expert on their project, but I do know of them and a little bit familiar. They focus on two segments of the market: one for fake luxury goods and other food industry, or I don't know what else they're getting into, wine, traceability. But for logistics, I'm not sure how they're planning on doing, loading up data when it's not real time. What we provide logistics wise, and I'm not talking about ocean yet, just between truckers, right? It's all real time. So imagine when a driver has to do a drop and hook, dropping a trailer to a distribution center. They lower the legs. That's already time-stamped data going onto the blockchain, right? As opposed to if they didn't have access to our tool, which is patented. The process is patented. The process for raising and lowering the landing gear with a mobile device, right? And also we own the patent for deriving data from the landing gear, which is the key thing. As far as Ultralift, we don't have a mobile solution competitor. We still have the patent for about 7 more years, but again, we're going to capture a good portion of the market and have that brand name. And then as we get to the second segment where data is becoming more valuable, especially when you see 5G coming on, right? We're going to be in a 5G network where it's every data jumping onto different data, different, Wi-Fi, everyone's device. It'll be all interconnected in a way, right? Hopping onto signal, right? For communication, data is going to be one of the most important things. So back to like kind of, sorry, I just have so much on my mind. What were we kind of getting onto? Like, lost my train of thought for a second.
Supply chain, inventory, other projects.
Right. I'm not saying they're a bad project, but they don't have anything that's real time. Everything will still be scanned. And when you have to scan something versus something that just does it automatically, real time, there's a difference. Okay. So what we're trying to push versus VeChain or any other project, I think there's a couple other logistics focused projects, but how can they have real time data if they don't have, number one, have a patent, number two, dominate one segment of that? Not saying they can't have real time data from driver use, right? From the truck, right? We understand that because there's ELD and things like that. But
what's ELD? ELD?
Electronic logging device.
Okay.
Which was lobbied into law that drivers need to have it. Okay. I believe, don't hold me to it, but the goal is down the road, more and more pressure will lead to some sort of lobbying for automation in the landing gear of trailers.
That was another thing I wanted to ask as well, is like, as technology advances, what if they change the way that the landing gear is lowered, like the truck manufacturers change the way the landing gear is lowered, and then a couple of years from now, all of a sudden the new models that are being made, there's just like a button in the dashboard of the truck that you push and then the landing gear lowers automatically. Have you considered something like that happening?
Yeah, we have a patent for that too. And then we are also with a leading landing gear manufacturer on that for them, not our own product. But again, the key thing that we did was secure a patent for deriving data from the landing gear. Doesn't matter if it was a mobile device or attached. So we at least have the data aspect of it, which is really critical.
Yeah. So hypothetically speaking, if some kind of technological change were to happen like that, because the Department of Transportation and the insurance companies need this data, these trucking companies that create the landing gear on the trucks, they're prepared to integrate your guys' technology so that the data can still be sent, correct?
Correct. And then so by having the patent, we'll be able to I'll be able to go to our partner clients and say, hey, do you want data out of the automated device that we're making for you, like straight on the leg, right? And if they say yes, obviously we'll provide. Again, that'll be on the, powered by Emerge. Okay. But I don't see that. Like most people think, okay, into the future when that will dominate, and then there's probably no more use for the power tool. And that's not true, because number one, there's costs, right? One of the biggest things why we're a leader in the market is for, let's say trucking companies with 100 trailers and 40 drivers. Well, to use anything that's automated installed onto the trailer, they got to buy, 100 units, right? Well, ours, they simply put a bracket on each trailer and get a tool per driver.
Okay.
But there are other companies that prefer the other solution. But since we have deriving data from the landing gear, doesn't matter what type of device it is, right? We'll be able to capture it from I guess the best analogy is, imagine the tree and the fruit, right? Say the power tool was the fruit, and the tree, which is this foundation, could be like, an automated landing gear on its own, right? We capture both because we'll be the tree and the fruit. I don't know if that makes sense.
Sort of, yeah. Other question: do you foresee this, supply chain data being, or this means of collecting supply chain data and sending it out? Do you see this possibly being integrated into other means of transporting our goods and products, like drones or airplanes in the future?
Like, what do you? I don't understand.
Or is there a potential use case? Like, is there a potential need for other kinds of data to be sent out? In the other methods that are being used to transport our products, like through drones or planes or anything else like that.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, but I mean, even though we're not involved in that, but I do feel like, I mean, data is everything, right? If later Amazon or some of these bigger guys are delivering through drones, I'm sure they're going to have tracking everything on that drone, right? When it delivers. But as far as trucking and trailers, I don't see that ever going away. I mean, we had a lot of people. Actually, Rudy was like sending me, texts from certain people like, hey, there's a lot of trucking companies going out of business, all these different things. What is the future of this? Well, just like any industry, you have people fail, right? It doesn't matter how big, how small. But if trucking was to completely fail and there's no truck drivers, the world would end, if you really think.
Yeah, a lot of people would probably die.
Yeah, we have access to water, food, health devices, hospital supplies, you name it.
It would be detrimental.
Yeah. So I don't want people to see news of certain companies, 40 years in the trucking business, now, gone. They might have done something wrong with their financials. They might have hired wrong people, get tons of fines, a lot of accidents, insurance going, injuries, so many variables, right? But yeah, trucking has to be around, and we're in the most vital market, focusing on a token and data. It's not just creating it. So the thing with our project versus anyone else's is it's not just make a token, have drivers use it. No, this is mined from their job, right? And it's from the data that does the minting. So the difficulty between, for example, Bitcoin's difficulty or Ethereum is just mathematical problems, right?
Yep.
Used. It's just for difficulty purposes. Ours is not mathematical problems. It's algorithm from all the data that's generated from the driver using it.
Yep.
So it's a little bit different. I mean, and we'll just kind of see what happens when the tool is developed and that whole process, that whole cycle, right? From using the device, generating the data that's going to be on the blockchain, mining the token as a reward system, right? And from there, the next thing, I'm talking a little bit about the roadmap. The next thing is, once we have that engine going, right? Then it's to create more utility uses, kind of like Bitcoin. If you think about it, Bitcoin, when it first started in 2008 or 9, sorry, I don't know the exact date. Not a lot of places were accepting it, right? Or
no one was back then.
No one wanted it. That's why someone gave 10,000 Bitcoins for pizzas, right? Because someone's like, sure, I'm going to just try this out. So we want to then capture more use cases, right? When drivers start transacting with each other, when customers start transacting with drivers, like picking up a pallet, a load, they're using it. Imagine, charging stations, which we're going to be involved in for electric trucks, right? Imagine different things that you can use our token for what you're doing in this whole economy, right? For what their job is. It's going to trickle into people wanting to hold on to it. And so same thing with Bitcoin. So that's when more people hold on to it as an asset, right? That's when it becomes, becomes something of value and what it has done. Now, that's part of our roadmap in generating value for our token down the road. First, create the engine. Secondary. I know everyone watching this probably is like, hey, when are you guys going to be on exchange? When are you guys going to do this and that? When the tool is ready, when the engine is running, I can't see us not being on any exchange.
Yeah. Well, once that engine is running and once the utility starts to come to fruition, that's when the exchanges start to recognize projects and say, hey, we want to.
Right. And at that time, who knows? Will there be exchanges, right? We don't know. But
it might be, it might be all done on decentralized exchanges.
Right. Look at what's
we see more and more decentralized exchanges coming online.
But exactly. So I don't want people to think, okay, well, that's the only way for value of the token. We're creating the wallet for a purpose. So if people can transact, people can services or goods or a trade medium eventually, right? The wallet gives you access to do that. And that's what we're kind of creating the value here. I don't want people to think it more. I know for people who got in our project strictly for, obviously to make money or future speculation, right? Obviously it's to be on exchange and things like that. But we're looking at it like, create the engine, everything will flow. Yeah. Everything should. There's a lot of projects without anything except for hope, and they're on exchanges, right? I mean, yes, we can spend some money, buy onto exchanges, right? That's not our goal. Once the engine is created, we'll create more things within the trucking community. It'll trickle down. I mean, we're going to eventually, I can see it already. We're going to have partnerships with truck stops. We're going to have partnerships with parts suppliers. It goes from there.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that too, because I'm not a truck driver, but I do a ton of long distance road trips and I stop at all the truck stops. Every single truck stop has vending machines. They have things you can purchase right there. And now I remember, years and years ago, the only way you could even get anything from a vending machine is you had to insert dollar bills. Well, now every vending machine, you can swipe a credit card. Some of them I've even seen you can use Apple Pay right from your phone. So we see the economy transitioning even at the truck stops with the way that their vending is working. Eventually, that is all going to transition to blockchain QR codes, scannable from a crypto wallet. We already see the transition slowly happening. So I wanted to touch on that too, because the Galaxy wallet is going to have interoperability with all of that as it transitions.
Absolutely, that's what our goal is. More for the. Not like when people think of wallet, it's just to hold things, right? We wanted to make it designed that you can literally, obviously through partnerships, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel, right? We'll add all those mechanisms of existing technologies that's out there. We'll partner with them, have it onto the wallet. So imagine a trucker going to a vending machine, just tap with the wallet and it'll do what, transact in that form of way. Whether it's they're transacting using the major cryptocurrencies or our token or whatever else, that's what we want to create the wallet for.
Yep. That's where the whole utility, that's the big picture that I always try to explain to people, like that technology is on this kind of like exponentially upward like if you were to graph the way technology advances, it goes like it hits like exponential growth. Moore's law. Are you familiar with Moore's law?
Yeah, no, everything today is just crazy. I mean, think about it. Back then, I still remember my first cell phone when I was in high school, right? And then every 2 years, it would have one new model, right? Every month now, you get a different model of a cell phone.
Yeah.
Every month, you get a different model of a laptop, right? TV, whatnot. We're moving so fast as an economy of new technology. I mean, think about it. You got so many apps that come out. I mean, people are innovating exponentially, which is really cool. Web3 barely got even introduced, and now people are talking about Web5, right? Who knows? People are probably planning Web7, 8, 9, 10. No one knows, right? But as far as technology from a mechanical side, I think we have a pretty good position in what we're doing, and we're going to grow. I mean, I hope to have this company go as far as later on when there's landing gear solutions and all that for, space travel. But I mean, that's like way far down, but we have such, when people see this just as a tool, it's not just a tool. One of these days I'll break it open, especially when we have the new mining tool, without showing, certain things so people can see the intricacy. It's not like you go to Home Depot or Menards or whatnot and get a tool. But yeah, no, applying data, and again, one of the biggest things is the data is not us just thinking, hey, let's create some data. We got those requests from insurance companies, workers comp.
That's how the whole project got started. That's what Rudy was telling me, was that they actually came to you guys and said, hey, can you send us data? And then that's how you guys got the idea to start producing this whole thing.
Right.
The demand has always been there.
No, the data wasn't something that we came up with. It was inquiries that came in. We get a lot of inquiries. We still have a lot of people, a lot of clients in different sectors that see value in our solution. But again, there's no data to apply to that. Like we're making a device for I don't know. We're making a lower grade device for the horse trailer market. There's a lot of ramps with landing gear. I didn't even know that until we had customers for that. But obviously that wouldn't have data, right? They wouldn't need. There's still a market for the old ultralift technology. Not old. I wouldn't say old. Current, right? The smart device would just be for transportation, drivers that do drop and hook. And I know there's some drivers that probably see this video and say, well, I never do drop and hook. Well, you're part of that 20-30% that don't, but 70% do. Mm-hmm. There's also some drivers that comment on our YouTube, and we're gonna step up our social media because social media is important for business right now. We're just so swamped without spending marketing and things like that. So we're going to step it up, but on our YouTube, we have drivers saying, if I manually crank for longer than 1 minute and 24 seconds, someone's got to fire me. But that driver, I mean, to say something like that, it's like, we don't respond to that, first of all. Second of all, there's plenty of people that buy our product. If a driver says something like that, they don't experience what other drivers experience, right? Just because they do something, or they have like new landing gears. But what that guy doesn't know, that what we do is safety first. It was first a safety company. It was never about speed, but then speed was an added benefit, right? Work smarter, not harder. And then data is now a new added benefit. And I don't know what else we can add, right? Once the blockchain is there, there's more added benefits, right? Imagine, so here's another thing with the wallet. And this wallet, I don't want everyone to think, okay, it's just designed for truckers. But what's really cool is any trucker using the wallet, all the data from the tool, that's generated, not only will it be on blockchain, but we'll also have an app. It's also going to link to the wallet, obviously. But I think we're going to have certain data that will also appear on the wallet, like almost like a sort of like a resume, like how long this driver has been operating. And, because right now we live in a world you can create a resume, right? But how do you really back it or verify, right? You can't.
You can't. But with what you guys do, the
Call.
tool,
Unless you call, and still they could put a number. They could put a number of their friend. You know, I mean, there's the having blockchain. And this is why we value blockchain. If we can track and keep a lot of the data, have all the data be on the blockchain, that data is valuable to so many different people within the trucking environment, from HR to fleet management, everything.
Yeah.
And so our also the data is centralized and centralized. So one thing I want everyone to know, we're not decentralized or centralized. We're both. I mean, that said it wrong. We're both centralized and decentralized, because we want to be pro-government in a sense that if there's certain data to help the environment, for example, I've talked about this before, there's billions of dollars in road damage every year by semi-trailers and semi-trucks. And so if we can help the government focus and lock in on what cities has the most traffic, right, based on drop-in hooks, of course, that data will grow exponentially as more users come on using our tool and generating that for them, right? We want to be pro about that too, because at the end of the day, it's helping as they focus on more busy roads being fixed. That helps the community, right? Everybody in that city. So I know everyone's like anti-government, like, a lot of people, and that's why blockchain, decentralized. But I mean, imagine certain data points, obviously for fleets, they don't want to share their routes and things like that. Of course, it's going to be decentralized for privacy of certain important data metrics that only belong to them, right? It's not to be sold. The insurance companies, however, that insure them will have to give a discount for being able to access all that data from that particular trucker or independent owner operator or the fleet. But we will have, no name. Imagine like no name, but the last drop and hook happened, in this coordinate, but no driver info, no company info, but it shows, that maybe the weight, whether it's a loaded trailer or non-loaded trailer with the coordinate. And that's just for, government. And the reason for that is that's another step to potentially later having this become lobbied.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
You see, they have access to that data, because if we only have, let's say later on, have 10,000 to 20,000 drivers using the smart tool, that's not a significant data for them.
Mm-hmm. Understand. I had a question about the Galaxy Wallet. Like when you guys first start testing it, is this going to be available on iPhone or Android? Like which one are you doing first?
Web-based first. And then we're going to on it's a process. And then I think we're going to do, I don't know if we're going to do both at the same time, Android and Apple, but it'll definitely be app-based, but web-based first for now.
Okay.
I don't want to give lines,
Okay. Another question I had, and I actually, this is one that comes up now very, very frequently in the community for all projects. Is this going to be ISO 2022 compliant?
We're working on that for the wallet. As far as it's not, we're not ready for that, but we are gearing all the coding, the structure of it, the functions. We're gearing towards that.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, because but I think I didn't look deep into what 2022 fully is, but I don't know if it's because it's a wallet with different trading and other things. Our wallet, as far as right now, definitely won't have trading, right? Because that's more licenses. That's all. This wallet is strictly for transacting and storing of digital assets, including ours, right? For now, but anything to make it 2022 compliant, absolutely, as much as we can.
Okay. That was all the questions I had as of right now. Is there any other last things you want to share with the community?
Since since we're still growing, right, and we're still, in the infancy stages of our project on the emerge side, right? Everyone, all the users that's come on board, everyone that's participated in emerge token, I mean, you guys are still very early. You guys are still, imagine later when we have 100,000 to 500,000 people involved in our tokens, right? And the movement. This is still early because right now we have only a little over 3,000, I believe. So, we don't update as much as I'd like to, and we will work on that. But again, just I just want everyone to know we are around, we are developing, and again, wallet's almost coming out, and the next focus is to get the power tool done.
Okay.
Our power tool done, and once the smart power tool is done, everything will fall into place.
Okay. Wait. One more question. Because Rudy was sending me all these pictures about the conferences and these meetups and these demonstrations you guys are doing. When is the next meetup or the next conference or the next event that people could go and either plug in person or view on a live stream and actually see some demonstrations of this? Is there anything coming up?
So once the smart device is done, right, we will be exhibiting, haven't figured out which trucking show. We will be exhibiting at a trucking show. I mean, Ultralift hasn't exhibited for the last 4 years. I mean, we don't need to. Our product sells itself, but once we have the new device, we will be exhibiting in, we'll pick a large trucking convention, which is either Mid-America or trying to think. I'll figure that out. And then also we'll probably exhibit in Bitcoin 2023 if we can get it done in time, or maybe even not Bitcoin, but another relevant crypto convention. So yeah, we do plan on doing that. What we've done recently that Rudy's been sharing and all that, he was there to witness, is just obviously sales on the Ultralift side, doing demonstrations for our Mexico distributor. Just letting, because we sell beyond just the US, we sell in Canada. We like to get more into Mexico, so that video and those pictures are just our demonstration with owners of fleets and distribution partners for Mexico. Eventually we want to grow all over South America. We get a lot of inquiries from Brazil, Dominican Republic, but again, it's more the fact that a lot of people don't know, and those I wouldn't want to even call it second or third world. They don't know what exists, right? So when someone learns that, there's a better way of doing things, doesn't matter if it's truck or whatever, once you learn it, you're going to do it, right? If it makes sense. So that's what's kind of happening.